Picture this. Someone criticizes you, throws shade, or questions what you're doing. And instead of shrinking, getting defensive, or letting it ruin your day, you stay calm, centered, and completely unshaken. Here's the twist. The Stoics didn't just tolerate criticism, they turned it into fuel. We live in a world where everyone's got an opinion, friends, co-workers, strangers online. And if you're not ready, their words can cut deep. But Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, they left us a playbook for rising above it all. And in this video, you'll see exactly how to flip criticism on its head, turning it from something that drags you down into something that makes you stronger. Stick around, because once you see this, you'll never hear criticism the same way again. Chapter 1. The Stoic Lens. What criticism really is. Picture this. One short sentence lands, a comment, a review, a whisper in the meeting, and suddenly you can feel your chest tighten, your thoughts spin, your whole day tilts. We've all been there. That tiny arrow of opinion feels huge. But what if I told you that same sentence could be turned into your most useful tool, if you looked at it the right way? Think about a scene. You're at your desk, the email pings. This is sloppy, it reads. Your first reaction is heat, shame, anger, the urge to defend. Now freeze the camera. Take a breath. A Stoic would do something strange by today's standards. They'd treat that line not as a verdict on character, but as a single data point. Not a final sentence. Not the end of the story. Here's the core. Criticism is not a mirror that shows your true worth. It's a mirror that shows someone else's perspective. It's information, sometimes clumsy, sometimes cruel, sometimes true, sometimes wrong. The Stoics didn't chase other people's applause. They treated outside voices like weather. It happens. You observe. You decide what to wear. Let me tell you a short story. There was an ancient teacher, call him Epictetus for flavor, who was known for telling people that insults are like noises outside your house. If a cart creaks in the street, do you blame the house? No. You close the window. You fix the cart if it's yours to fix. The insult exists. Your relationship to it is yours to manage. That little mental pivot from "they're attacking me" to "this is information" is what transforms vulnerability into power. So what does that look like in the real world? First, pause. Not for hours, for a breath. Stoics built a split second between stimulus and reaction. That pause is your power switch. Second, ask one clean question. Is any of this true? Not, is this true about me as a whole? But is there a kernel of truth I can use? If the answer is yes, you have a gift, imperfect, but useful. If the answer is no, then let it go. You don't need to carry a verdict that isn't yours. Third, and this is the game changer, detach the criticism from your identity. Someone says your work is sloppy. That doesn't mean you are sloppy. It means something you did, today, in a specific context, needs attention. Treat it like a bug report, not a character assassination. When you convert criticism into a checklist item, fix this. The emotion drains away and the work begins. But don't mistake Stoic calm for cold indifference. The Stoic approach isn't about numbing yourself. It's about being ruthlessly honest and kind with yourself. If the critique is true, you correct it. If it's false, you refuse to let it set your mood. That's discipline, not denial. Now, a tiny exercise you can use immediately. The next time you feel stung, write down 3 things: who said it, what they actually said, and one small, specific action you could take if there's truth in it. That's it. 1 breath, 3 lines. You'll be amazed how quickly a tidal surge of emotion becomes a useful plan. Here's the secret the Stoics leave us. Criticism only has power if you hand it the keys. Pull those keys back. Test the truth. Use what's useful. Discard the rest. Do that enough times, and the noise becomes a filter. And you, a person who learns faster, feels steadier, and holds less baggage. If you want the rest of this guide to work for you, stick with me. We're about to break this down into tools you can use the moment someone tries to knock you off balance, whether it's a boss, a stranger, or your own inner critic. And if this little lens landed for you, do something tiny that matters. Hit like, subscribe, and drop one word in the comments that describes how criticism makes you feel burned, driven, angry, ready. I read every single one, and I'll reply to a handful so we can turn your comment into a real next step. Ready to stop letting other people write your weather report? Let's keep going. Chapter 2. What's in your control? Separating opinion from obligation. Picture this. You get one blunt sentence. This isn't good enough. And your chest drops like someone pulled the floor from under you. Your mind races. You hear every old failure like a jury reading charges. One line, and suddenly you're negotiating for your worth. Sound familiar? Good, because that exact moment is where Chapter 2 starts. Here's the rule that saves everything. Most of what wrecks you when someone criticizes you isn't the criticism itself. It's the confusion about what you actually control. The Stoics called this the clearest dividing line in life. There are things up to you, and there are things not up to you. That line, it's the difference between carrying a burden and putting it down. Let me tell you about Danny. She runs a small creative agency and lives for good work. One afternoon, her client emails, "This direction feels cheap." Danny's first move is gut level. Shame, 2 a.m. thinking, rewriting her identity as a fraud. She spends the evening replaying every meeting, second-guessing every decision. Productivity dies. Confidence dies. The project suffers. Now watch what happens when she flips the script. Instead of swallowing the blow, she asks one surgical question. Can you show me specifically what feels cheap? The client points to 2 visuals and a tone. Danny lists 3 concrete changes, tests them, and the client signs off, praising the iteration. The work improved. Danny learned something. Her worth didn't change. Her options got better. That pivot, asking, is this mine to control, is the toolkit. Opinions live outside you. Obligations live inside your work. Mixing them up is costly. So let's make this practical. When criticism lands, do this mental triage in seconds. First, ask, is this within my control? If someone insults your character, you cannot control their thought. You can control your next action. If the critique targets a decision you made or a deliverable you produced, that's within your power to change. Don't fight the weather. Fix the roof if you can. Second, is there truth here? Not a total verdict, just a single check for a kernel of reality. If a stranger calls your post boring, maybe they're one voice. If 3 different people raise the same point, that's data. Treat recurring notes like a pattern, not personal condemnation. Third, is action required? If yes, turn emotion into microtasks. Fix image contrast, clarify headline, ask for examples. If no, if it's opinion or noise, file it as what it is and move on. You want a toolbox? Here's 4 Stoic, ready-to-use habits you can start right now. 1. The pause command. Count 3 breaths before typing, replying, or resharing that defensive clapback. That 3-breath bridge shuts down reflex and opens the frontal lobe. 2. The control question. Say it silently. Is this mine to change? If the answer is no, release. If it's yes, write one tiny step to fix it. 3. The clarify line. Say aloud or in a message. Can you point to exactly what you mean? Most critics don't. When they do, you get useful info instead of venom. 4. The criticism log. Keep a single note called feedback. Date it, record the line, and add one action. 3 weeks later, patterns appear. Patterns are the currency of growth. This isn't cold stoicism. It's fierce practicality. You're not pretending feelings don't exist. You're refusing to let them run the company of you. Anger, shame, pride, they're real. But they are not commanders. You are. Breathe. Ask the control question. If it's actionable, make one 10-minute fix. If it's not, put it in the log and go do one thing that proves your value. A call, a draft, a walk that clears your head. Action beats rumination every single time. Remember Marcus Aurelius scribbling to himself, reminding himself to focus on what he could direct. Paraphrased, he essentially said, don't let someone else's voice steer your ship. That's the same advice that works in 2025 whether the critique comes in a meeting, a DM, or a review. If that landed for you, do something small but powerful. Hit like, subscribe, and drop one word in the comments. Control if you're ready to stop carrying other people's opinions, or fix if you'd rather take criticism and use it to improve. I'll read every single one and pick a few to turn into short replies with exact wording you can use when criticism comes at you next. Ready for the next move? In the next chapter, we stop guessing and start testing. How to separate truth from noise with surgical questions that get you precise answers. Stick around, we're only getting started. Chapter 3, Truth from Noise. How to test criticism for value. Picture this. A single comment lands beneath your work, 3 words, and suddenly the world tilts. Your stomach clenches, your hands fumble, and in your head 1,000 old doubts march out like soldiers. We've all been flattened by that one line. But what if that line could be turned into something useful instead of a knockout punch? Meet Nia. She's an indie filmmaker who spent 6 months on a short that felt like her best work. Premiere night, she scrolls the comments. One viewer writes, "This is pretentious." Nia freezes. For a minute, she's replaying every frame, every choice, shrinking the whole thing down to that one word. She almost deletes the film from her site. Instead, she does something smarter. She runs the critique through a filter. Within 48 hours, she's received 3 more reactions, 2 praising the cinematography, 1 saying they didn't get the story. Nia asks one simple question to a commenter. Which scene felt pretentious to you? The reply points to a single long take in the middle. She re-watches that moment, notices pacing issues, trims 30 seconds, and the next festival feedback is better. The film didn't need saving, it needed testing. That, right there, is the difference between being defeated by criticism and using it. Chapter 3 is about the precise method the Stoics would have loved, how to test criticism for value so it either becomes a tool or a closed file. Here's the core idea. Not all criticism is created equal. Some of it is noise, random, emotional, cheap shots. Some of it is gold, awkwardly phrased, but pointing at real problems. Your job is to tell the two apart fast, without the drama. Think like a scientist, not like a defendant. I want to give you a repeatable system. 5 filters you can run any critique through in under a minute. Use them out loud, in your head, or write them down. They'll calm your nervous system and give you action instead of anxiety. Filter 1, source and motivation. Who said it, and what were they trying to do? Is this person a collaborator, a loyal user, a stranger trolling, a competitor, or someone with a different taste? A detailed critique from your mentor is gold. A snarky line from an anonymous account? Probably noise. Ask, who benefits from saying this? Filter 2, specificity and evidence. Is the critique precise or vague? This is boring versus the opening drags from 0:30 to 1:40. Specific equals testable. Vague equals often emotional. When someone gives specifics, they've handed you a map. Use it. Filter 3, recurrence and consensus. Is this a one-off or a pattern? One dissenting voice is data, but not destiny. 3 different voices pointing at the same weak spot? That's a trend. Patterns beat feelings. Filter 4, feasibility. Can you actually change it? If the fix is a 3-minute edit, do it. If the fix is a root redesign that breaks your entire product, weigh the cost. Actionable changes are worth your energy. Impossible ones are not. Filter 5, outcome value. If you change this, what happens? Will the work become clearer, safer, more useful, or more monetizable? If the change only erases your edge or makes you generic, that's not always a win. Let me show you how this plays out in a real exchange. Someone calls your article pretentious. Run the 5 filters. The commenter is a random reader. Source equals low. The comment lacks examples. Specificity equals low. There are 2 other notes complaining about style. Recurrence equals medium. The fix, rewriting 2 paragraphs, takes 20 minutes. Feasibility equals high. And clearer language likely increases reads. Outcome equals high. Verdict, rewrite. Action beats anguish. Now please memorize this tiny superweapon you can use in the heat of the moment. Ask 3 short questions mentally. Who? What? Worth it? Who said it? Source. What exactly did they point to? Specific. Is changing this worth my time? Value plus feasibility. Answer those, and you'll move from reactive pain to strategic choice. A few practical scripts you can use when you need clarification. Copy them, save them, and paste when the moment comes. Thanks for the note. Could you point to the exact part you mean? I appreciate the honesty. What would better look like to you? Can you give one example so I can understand and act? These sound simple because they are. Most critics haven't thought this far. By asking, you force clarity, and clarity gives you power. One more thing the Stoics teach us quietly. Don't confuse sharp phrasing with truth. People often deliver helpful truth in a rough package. Don't throw the truth out with the tone. Test the content, not the delivery. Now a small exercise to lock this in. The next time a critique stings, take 30 seconds. Run it through the 5 filters. If it's actionable, write one micro task and commit to 10 minutes of improvement. If it's noise, delete, archive, move on. You'll be surprised how often doing something small dissolves the drama entirely. If you found this useful, do something that helps the channel and helps you. Hit like, subscribe, and comment the one critique you've been carrying, just one line. I'll pick a few and walk them through the 5 filters in the next video, so you can see this method work live. That's your fast ticket from hurt to hustle. Ready? Let's put the next critique on trial and see if it helps you win. Chapter 4. Pause, don't react. The Stoic habit of assessment. You ever notice how a single sentence can flip your whole day? One line, you missed the mark. That was arrogant. You're not a team player. And suddenly your chest feels tight, your thoughts spin, and you're already composing the perfect comeback in your head. That's not drama. That's biology. And it's exactly where the rest of your life gets decided if you let it. Picture this. A mid-level manager named Aaron is leading a presentation. Halfway through, a senior voice cuts in. This isn't practical. Aaron's first move is fast and hot. Cheeks flush, words rush. He snaps back defensively. The room chills. The meeting derails. Later he replays the moment and wonders why he comes off as brittle when he knows his work is solid. Now imagine the same scene, same critique, different response. Aaron inhales, counts 3, names the knot in his chest as surprise, then asks, calmly, which part felt impractical to you? The senior points to 2 assumptions. Aaron notes them, thanks the person, and offers to test alternatives later that day. The meeting keeps rolling. His credibility stays intact. His control intact. That pivot, the split second between insult and answer, is Chapter 4's whole world. The Stoics built lives around that pause. They didn't wait for emotion to pass. They trained the pause like a muscle. And today, I'm handing you the exact workout. Here's how to make the pause work for you, not against you. These are battle-tested moves, quick, practical, and human. First, on the physiological hit. When criticism lands, your body reacts first. Recognize it. Tight jaw, racing heart, hot face. Call it out. Say to yourself, okay, that's anger. Labeling the emotion pulls it out of your bloodstream and into language, and language shrinks the panic. It's simple, but it works. Second, breathe like you mean it. Not a half breath, a full 3 count in, hold 1, out for 4. That breathing lengthens the fraction between impulse and action, and neurochemically it calms the alarm system so your brain can think, not just react. Third, ask one short, surgical question, mentally or aloud, before you answer. Is this true, and is it mine to fix? 2 parts. Truth checks the content. Ownership checks the scope. If the critique is true and fixable, you'll act differently than if it's wrong or someone else's problem. Fourth, name the time frame. Will this matter in 24 hours? 1 month? 1 year? The Stoics obsessed over scale. Most critiques hit like a headline, but don't carry chapter-long consequences. Shrink the time horizon, and you'll see whether this deserves a surgical fix or a shrug. Fifth, pick a micro-response script so you don't improvise from emotion. Here are tiny lines that buy you dignity and clarity. Thanks. Can you point to the exact part you mean? I hear you. I'll think this over and follow up tomorrow. That's useful. Could you give one example so I can act on it? These are not weakness. They're strategy. They let curiosity lead, not ego. Now, a practical anchor you can use next time. Pick any small physical cue. Touch your ring, press your thumb to your index finger, stand if you're sitting, and pair it with the 3-breath rule. Every time you feel the heat, do the cue plus breathe plus label. That tiny ritual interrupts the reflex and trains your brain to make space. Repetition builds the habit. Do it enough, and the pause becomes your autopilot. A quick exercise right now. Think of the last line that stung you. Close your eyes for a second. Take 3 full breaths. Name the dominant feeling as one word. Ask yourself the 2 questions. Is this true? And is it mine to fix? If it's actionable, write 1 tiny step you could take in 10 minutes. If it's not, say aloud, not mine, and let it go. Do that sequence 5 times over the next week and watch how fast the charge loses its bite. One more Stoic truth. Pausing doesn't mean you avoid responsibility. It means you avoid pointless drama. You're not suppressing feeling. You're choosing response over reaction. That choice looks calm because it is effective. If this landed, if you can already feel the space that a simple pause would create, do something tiny that helps the channel. Hit like, subscribe, and type 1 word in the comments that matches the emotion you named during that exercise. I'll personally pick a few and give you short scripts you can use in real moments, so you don't have to invent calm under pressure. Ready for the next step? We've built a pause between the jab and the answer. In the next chapter, we'll learn how to quiet the storm inside, how to tame shame, anger, and pride so criticism stops getting under your skin. Stick around. This is where the real work becomes freedom. Chapter 5, Taming the Inner Weather, Managing Shame, Anger, and Pride. You're walking out of a meeting and one sentence lands like a slap. That presentation was embarrassing. Your face heats, your shoulders pull inward, and for a moment you feel smaller, as if the room just shifted and you don't fit in anymore. That hit. That's shame. It feels like someone handed you a verdict on who you are, not what you did. And once shame grabs hold, it drags everything else with it. Pride gets wounded, anger sneaks in, and suddenly you're either apologizing for everything or plotting the perfect comeback. Chapter 5 is the playbook for that inner storm. We're going to tame shame, quiet the flash of anger, and strip pride of its power, not by suppressing feelings, but by turning them into information and fuel. Think of it like turning a wildfire into controlled embers you can cook on. Let me tell you about Maya. She's a teacher who publishes short lessons online. One day a comment shows up. You're out of touch. Her chest clenches. That night she replays every class, every word. Sleep evaporates. She almost deletes her account. But instead of panicking, Maya tries something new. She treats the feeling like weather. She names it. That's shame. She breathes. Then she runs a quick check. Is this true? Is this useful? Is this mine? The answers don't fix everything, but they move her from victim to investigator. She emails a trusted viewer and asks for specifics. They point to one outdated example in a lesson. Maya updates that clip in 20 minutes, posts an honest comment, and the next post gets better feedback. The storm didn't disappear. She redirected it. That move, name it, breathe, inspect, is the core. Here's the step-by-step you can use in real time, in the moment a critique lands. Step 1, label and locate. Stop the story you're telling about yourself and label the feeling. One word, shame, anger, hurt, pride. Saying it out loud or in your head moves the emotion from body to language. It becomes something to work with, not a force that owns you. Step 2, short-circuit the physiology. Do 3 full breaths. Inhale for 3, hold 1, exhale for 4. This simple rhythm calms the alarm system and lengthens the gap between stimulus and reaction. In that gap lives choice. Step 3, ask the 2 questions. Is this true? Is it mine to fix? Shame tells you you're permanently defective. The Stoics remind us, we are fallible, not finished. If a critique points to a fixable action, act. If it's a value judgment aimed at your identity, file it as someone else's opinion, not a sentence. Now let's break these tactics down by emotion, because each one plays differently. Shame, the thief of presence. Shame convinces you your whole self is on trial. Counter it by separating person from action. Replace "I am a failure" with "I made a mistake." Guilt is useful. Shame is corrosive. Practical fix. Immediately write one corrective item, not an apology letter, just one small repair you can do in 10 minutes. Action restructures your story into competence. Anger, the short, fierce spark. Anger wants to move fast and loud. Stoics called it a kind of madness. Don't take it as a moral compass. Translate it into curiosity. What boundary was crossed? What need rose? Use a 2-line script to respond, not react. "I'm frustrated by that. Can we slow down and talk specifics?" That line keeps your dignity and buys time to turn energy into solution. Pride, the silent source of many wounds. Pride inflates the cost of criticism until any hit feels catastrophic. When pride leads, every critique turns into an attack on your status. The antidote is humility with purpose. List 3 reasons you care about the work, not to diminish yourself, but to anchor your values. Then ask, would changing this help me serve those values better? If yes, adapt. If no, don't confuse stubbornness with integrity. Here are small daily rituals that actually rewire how you respond. Morning microjournal. 1 line. What might embarrass me today? This isn't pessimism. It's rehearsing humility so shame won't surprise you. Evening correction log. 1 quick note of criticism you received and 1 microaction you took. Over time, you'll watch patterns turn into wins. Voluntary discomfort. Do 1 tiny thing each week that could invite judgment. A short public post, an unfinished sketch, a cold email. Desensitization is the Stoic gym. Lift a little weight, and you won't snap under a heavier one. And a toolkit of phrases so you don't invent heat in the moment. For shame, I heard that. I'll think about it and come back. For anger, I'm upset about this. Let's step back and solve it. For pride, I care about doing this well. Help me understand the part that feels off. Quick exercise right now. Do it with me. Think of the last line that stung you. Say 1 word that names the dominant feeling. Take 3 deep breaths. Ask, is 1 small fix possible? If yes, write that fix down. If no, say aloud, not mine. That tiny ritual starts to retrain your nervous system immediately. The Stoic aim isn't to be emotionless. It's to be master of your mind. Emotions are signals, not rulers. When you learn to label them, slow them, and convert them into precise actions, you stop being a hostage to other people's noise and start being an architect of your own responses. If this landed, do something sweet and useful. Hit like, subscribe, and in the comments drop 1 word, shame, anger, or pride, whichever one eats at you most. I'll pick a handful of comments and write back with a tiny, tailored script you can use the next time that feeling shows up. Consider it a mini coach in the comments, practical, quick, and made for real moments. Ready to move from being reactionary to being steady? Stick with me. Next, we train the muscle that turns criticism into practice. How to preempt the blow and prepare so critique stops surprising you. Chapter 6. Premeditatio Critica. Preparing yourself before critique arrives. Picture this. The night before your big drop, a product launch, a bold video, a presentation you've poured your heart into. And instead of lying awake waiting for the blow, you sit down and write out the worst things people could say about it. You type the cruelest tweet, the harshest DM, the snarky headline. You don't do it to punish yourself. You do it to disarm the critic before they even open their mouths. That's premeditatio critica, Stoic prep for modern firestorms. The ancient Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, imagining bad things so you wouldn't be surprised when they happened. We're borrowing that muscle and turning it into a practical shield. Anticipate criticism, rehearse your answers, and set the stage so critique becomes data, not an emotional ambush. Let me tell you about Lena. She makes honest, vulnerable videos about failure. For months, she avoided one topic because she knew it would attract the nastiest comments. But one day, she tried something different. Instead of waiting, she rehearsed the attack. She wrote the worst comments she could imagine, then crafted calm, short replies, and a pinned comment that explained the intent behind the video. When the negativity hit, she didn't flinch. Her replies were already there, measured, clear, disarming. The energy of the thread changed. People who might have piled on instead read the pinned context, learned, and some even apologized. The controversy turned into clarity. Lena hadn't stopped criticism, she directed it. Chapter 6 is all about giving you that same power. Here's a practical, no BS toolkit you can use the night before any public thing, content, meeting, product, or presentation, so criticism loses its bite and becomes something you can steer. The premeditation playbook. Do this in 20 to 30 minutes. 1. List the 3 worst criticisms. Write the meanest, bluntest lines someone could say. Make them short. Brutal clarity beats fuzzy fear. Give yourself permission to be vivid. The point is to take the sting out of surprise. 2. Ask, are any of these true? For each line, answer in one sentence. Yes/partially/no. If yes or partially, jot one microaction you can do in under an hour. If no, file it as opinion and craft a calm one-line response that redirects the conversation. 3. Craft your preemptive lines. Write 2 short, honest, public sentences you'll use to frame the work. Examples. You might read this as X. Here's why we chose Y. Or, this isn't perfect. Here's what we're testing. Pre-framing steals critics' thunder and invites listeners into your intention. 4. Create a tiny buffer group. Before you publish, send your work to 2 to 3 trusted people who will tell you the truth. Ask for the one piece they'd change. Use their feedback to patch the obvious holes. This reduces low-hanging critique and gives you allies. 5. Rehearse the 1-minute response. Pick the single meanest line from step 1 and rehearse a calm reply you can post in 60 seconds. Keep it factual, brief, and human. Practice it out loud. The voice you use in that minute sets the tone for the whole conversation. 6. Decide when to engage and when to let go. Set rules. You'll personally respond to up to 5 critiques in the first 48 hours. Everything else gets triaged into the criticism log. This stops you from getting pulled into endless argument and keeps your attention on the work. Many scripts you can copy right now. Pre-frame line for a post. Heads up, this experiment leans into a specific idea. If it doesn't land for you, tell me which part and why. 60-second reply to a mean comment. Thanks for the honesty. Can you point to the exact part you mean? I'd like to understand. Pinned comment template. This was made to test X. I welcome useful criticism. Tag the spot that feels off and I'll respond. 2 quick real-world micro-tactics that people miss. Red team your work. Pretend you are the critic. Spend 5 minutes writing the harshest take. Then ask yourself if that take would stop you from ever trying again. 9 times out of 10, the critic's worst wording is an exaggerated version of a real concern, and now you have a path to fix it. Pre-commit to the narrative. In your description or opening line, say out loud what you're experimenting with or acknowledging the single known weakness. People relax when you're already owning the trade-offs. It converts skeptics into curious listeners. A short, daily premeditation routine, 3 minutes. Close your eyes and imagine one negative headline about today's work. Breathe 3 deep counts. Say one sentence. If that happens, I will one tiny action. That tiny ritual trains you to meet criticism with purpose, not panic. Why this works? Surprise amplifies emotion. Preparation reduces it. When you expect the critic, you control the first move. You create context. You invite useful voices and deflect performative attacks. The Stoics didn't become unbothered by chance. They trained for the worst so they could act well in the moment. If this landed for you, do something small that helps the channel and helps your future self. Hit like, subscribe, and in the comments drop the one critique you're most afraid of getting, the one that keeps you up at night. I'll pick a handful and write back with exact premeditation lines you can use before your next launch. Consider it your personal pre-flight checklist. Quick, honest, and battle-tested. Ready to stop being surprised and start being strategic? Let's keep going. Next chapter teaches how to convert the criticisms you do keep into a relentless engine of improvement. Chapter 7. Turn pain into practice, using criticism to improve. Picture this. Someone rips into your work for brutal words, and for a hot second you want to quit. Now imagine that same sentence, same sting, becoming the map that actually makes your next version unmistakably better. That's what this chapter is for. Turning pain into practice. Turning the jab into the blueprint. Meet Omar. He built a side app he believed in for a year. Launch day, the reviews came in. Some glowing, one that cut deep. Confusing UX, feels half-baked. He froze. Then he did something most people don't. He treated the criticism like a case file, not a death sentence. He opened a clean doc and wrote exactly what the critic said. He didn't delete the comment. He didn't argue. He started a little procedure he calls the feedback to action loop. It saved the app and his sanity. You can steal that loop tonight. It's simple, repeatable, and made for people who want results, not drama. Step 1. Capture the line. Copy the critique verbatim. Put it in a feedback note. Naming the criticism exactly removes the ghost from the sentence. Step 2. Translate to a testable problem. Turn confusing UX into a question. Which flow confused you? Where did you get stuck? Clarity turns insult into an experiment. Step 3. Prioritize with impact and cost. Ask, if we fix this, who benefits and how much effort is it? Fixes that take 10 to 60 minutes and improve retention are priority 1. Step 4. Hypothesize and act. Make a tiny change, a copy tweak, a button move, a 30-second edit that you can ship today. Treat it like A/B testing the critic's claim. Step 5. Measure and close the loop. Track one metric. Did watch time rise? Did signups increase? If yes, keep iterating. If no, learn and try the next tiny change. This isn't theoretical. Omar implemented a 15-minute onboarding tweak that answered the exact point a user raised. 10 days later, his retention curve nudged up. The critic didn't vanish, but the product improved, and Omar was less reactive because he had a process. Here are battle-ready tools you'll actually use. The 5-3-1 rule. When feedback lands, write 5 words that summarize it, list 3 possible fixes, pick one to ship in 30 minutes. Critique cards. A simple template. Source/quote/hypothesis/tiny-action/metric. Keep them in a single folder. Over a month, you'll see patterns, not panic. The 10-minute test. Pick the quickest hypothesis you can ship in 10 minutes. Real learning beats perfect planning. Public change log. Publish a short pin note or description update saying what you fixed. People respect transparency. Critics often become cheerleaders when they see you acted. A few scripts that get you real answers, fast. Thanks for the honesty. Could you point to the exact step that felt confusing? We're testing different approaches. If you had to choose one improvement, what would it be? Appreciate this. We just shipped a small change. Mind checking if that improves your experience? And don't ignore the human side. Criticism often carries a signal wrapped in emotion. Extract the signal. Ask for specifics. Treat your critics as unpaid QA. Some will be trolls, some will be treasure. Your job is to separate the two quickly. Daily micro-practice that builds muscle. Every morning, read one piece of negative feedback and spend 10 minutes turning it into a critique card. Do that 5 days in a row. By weeks, and you'll have 5 testable actions. And, importantly, you'll have transformed stress into momentum. 2 mindset shifts that change everything. First, expect criticism as part of shipping. It's not a glitch. It's a feature of putting work into the world. Second, value learning over being right. When improvement beats defensiveness, you win twice. Better work and less drama. Quick exercise right now. Grab the worst critique you've been carrying. Write it down exactly. Then write one tiny action you can take in under 30 minutes to test whether the critique has merit. That 1-minute act is the difference between being stuck and making progress. If this landed, if you want me to turn one of your real critiques into a step-by-step micro-action, drop that line in the comments below right now. Paste the exact wording you received, and I will reply in this thread with a single, immediate micro task you can do in the next 10 to 30 minutes. No fluff. Just one practical move to make the criticism useful. If you got value from this, do something sweet. Like, subscribe, and share one critique you converted into an action in the past. I read every story, and I'll respond with one tiny improvement you can make next. Turn the sting into craftsmanship. This is how you get better, not bitter. Chapter 8. Facing Public Scrutiny. Stoic Strategies for Social and Online Judgment. Picture this. You wake up to your phone buzzing like a hive. You blink, open your feed, and there it is. Your name plastered across screenshots, reactions spiraling, strangers calling you out for a line you barely remembered writing. Your stomach drops. Notifications flood in. Your instincts say, defend, delete, explain, stop, breathe. That split-second decision is the moment Chapter 8 is made of. Let me tell you about Amara. She posted a vulnerable thread about a past mistake. Honest, messy, meant to help others. By midnight, someone clipped one sentence, spun it into a headline, and a small storm turned into a trending pylon. Her first instinct was to jump into the comments and argue. She'd have lost. Instead, she did something smarter. She used a Stoic filter and a simple response protocol. She posted one calm public line, asked for specifics privately, fixed an unclear sentence, and pinned a short correction with the edits she made. The heat died down. People respected her more for her clarity than they ever would have for a fevered defense. That's what public scrutiny does. It exposes you to the weather. And the Stoics teach us the essential truth. You cannot control the storm, but you can control the roof you build. Chapter 8 hands you the roof blueprint. First, the mindset. 2 Stoic truths to anchor. 1. Reputation is external. Your virtue, honesty, courage, fairness is internal. External noise can never define your inner standard unless you let it. 2. Prepare for critique before you need it. Expecting storms lets you act like a captain, not a refugee. Now the practical protocol you can use the moment public scrutiny hits. It's simple, immediate, and repeatable. Phase 1. Immediate shield, 0 to 60 minutes. Don't vanish. Don't over-explain. Do stabilize. Pause and breathe. Literally take 2 minutes away from the screen. Your first words in public will set the tone. Issue a holding line. Short, human, accountable. Example. I see the concerns and I'm looking into this. I'll update shortly. That single sentence calms expectation and buys you time. Gather the facts. Who's saying what? Is the clip accurate or taken out of context? Which posts are gaining traction? Phase 2. Clarify and decide. 1 to 24 hours. Get precise. Decide the channel of response. Triage the criticism. Is this a factual error, an ethical concern, or a difference of taste? Facts require correction. Ethics may require apology and repair. Taste often needs framing or letting go. Choose public versus private. If a person raises a specific grievance and wants resolution, offer to take it private. Thanks. Can you DM the exact points so I can address it? Use private channels for nuance. Use public replies for facts and accountability. Draft the core message, short, specific, no defensiveness. If you're wrong, name it, apologize, state the corrective action. Example, you're right. That sentence was misleading. I apologize. I've edited it and here's what I changed. Phase 3, repair and learn, 24 to 72 hours and beyond. Fix, document, and improve. Act with visible fixes. Change the copy, refund, revise the clip, or launch an investigation. People respect action over rhetoric. Be transparent about what you changed and why. Edited to clarify X. We'll update our policy by date. Transparency lowers temperature. Log the incident and outcome in your criticism file so patterns emerge. This turns chaos into a roadmap for improvement. Tactical rules that save reputations. Keep it short. Long defenses sound defensive. A concise, factual reply communicates control. No but in apologies. Replace "I'm sorry," but with "I'm sorry. Here's what I'll do." Don't delete without note. Vanishing content looks like cover-up. If you must remove something, explain why and what you replaced it with. Don't feed trolls. If the critic's goal is to trigger you, public engagement is oxygen. Respond to constructive voices. Ignore or block the performative noise. Protect yourself. If harassment escalates to doxing or threats, document and involve platforms or legal counsel. Scripts you can use right now. Holding line. I see this. Thank you for raising it. We're looking into it and will update shortly. Public correction. You were right to call this out. That phrasing was misleading. We've edited it to X and apologize for the confusion. Redirect to private. I appreciate you raising this. Can you DM the exact moment so we can resolve this directly? Calm deflection for trolls. Thanks for sharing your view. Pre-battle practices that make storms manageable. Build a buffer squad. 2 to 3 trusted people who can read drafts and spot triggers before you post. Have templates ready. Holding lines, correction templates, apology formats. Save them so panic doesn't write your first message. Run a what could go wrong checklist before launches. Sensitive words? Misleading data? Missing context? If you expect it, you can pre-frame it. A short exercise. Imagine the worst headline you could wake up to about your work. Write one sentence that would be your holding line and one sentence that would be your corrective action. Keep both and pin them in your notes. Practice them once a month. That tiny rehearsal builds the reflex you'll need when the real thing arrives. And the Stoic spine under all of this. Aim to be honest, not liked, to be corrected, not defended, to improve, not to prove. Virtue is your internal scoreboard. External applause or condemnation is noise you can learn from, not a verdict you must carry. If this landed, if the idea of a calm, stoic response to public heat makes your chest feel lighter, do something small but powerful, like this video, subscribe, and paste one public criticism you've faced in the comments below, exact wording. I'll pick a few and reply with a short, stoic-crafted message you can actually use. No judgment, just one clear line you can post the next time the storm rises. Ready? Let's learn to stand in public without losing ourselves. Chapter 9. Boundaries and Reputation. Protecting integrity without attachment. You're scrolling through your feed and, boom, a post from last month resurfaces with a new take. People are picking it apart. Old screenshots, new hot takes, and a chorus of strangers telling you who you are. Your instinct: fix it, explain, defend. Your outcome if you follow that instinct. You hand the conversation to the loudest voices and lose energy, time, and sometimes your peace. Chapter 9 is the survival guide and the offense plan rolled into one. How to set boundaries that protect your integrity, and how to manage your reputation without becoming a hostage to it. This is about being kind to yourself and ruthless about what you let in. Picture Lila. She's a podcaster with a small but vocal audience. One week she notices the same old clip resurfacing with a snarkier caption. People started demanding apologies for a joke she made 2 years ago. She felt cornered, exposed, and oddly smaller than the work she'd poured out. Instead of sprinting into a public panic, Lila did 2 things. She drew a line, and she showed her work. First, she declared the boundary privately. I won't engage with insults or speculation. If you have something specific and constructive, share the clip and the timestamp. That single line changed the tone of the DMs. People either came back with specifics, useful, or stopped trying to bait her, which is exactly what she wanted. Then she published a short note on the episode page showing the edit she'd made 2 years ago and why she'd changed it. The fans who mattered respected her more for owning the work. The trolls kept shouting into the void. Lila reclaimed the narrative without gaslighting herself. Here's the framework you can steal tonight. It's simple, repeatable, and fierce in a calm way. Boundary system, 3 layers. Personal boundaries, protect your inner life. Decide what gets through DMs, mentions, late night threads. Set rules like no responding after 10 p.m. or I don't open messages from anonymous accounts. Train your team or your trusted friend to triage if you want total distance. Professional boundaries, protect your work and process. Examples: I will only accept feedback that includes specifics and suggested improvements. Or, we correct factual errors within 48 hours. Opinions are optional. Make these rules public when needed. People respect transparent processes. Public/legal boundaries. Protect safety and reputation. If someone crosses into threats, doxing, or defamation, document, preserve screenshots, and escalate to platforms or legal counsel. You don't have to fight alone. Reputation portfolio. Manage it like an investment. Think of reputation as a portfolio, not a scoreboard. You can grow it, protect it, and accept that it will have volatility. Proof. Keep an archive of drafts, receipts, research. When facts are questioned, facts win. Transparency. Publish short change logs or "why I did this" notes when criticism points at intent. People calm down when you're honest. Consistency. Show a steady pattern of values over time. One mistake is noise, a pattern is data. Response time. Decide your timing. Immediate holding line versus well-crafted public response. Both have value. Community investment. Cultivate fans who understand your values. They'll defend nuance when storms hit. Red lines and the response playbook. Know your non-negotiables, your red lines. Examples: harassment, threats, doxing, financial fraud. For everything else, use the triage script, used when criticism lands. Holding line, public. I see the concerns. I'm looking into this and will update by time. Request specifics, private/public. Thanks for the note. Can you point to the exact moment so I can address it? Correction. If factual error, you were right. We've corrected X and updated our notes. Boundary. For abuse, I won't engage with insults. If you continue, I'll block/report. Let it go. For taste, no reply. Not every criticism deserves oxygen. Practical tools you'll use. The triage folder. A folder in your drive called criticism. Copy the comment, paste the context, and note one action. Patterns show themselves when you keep records. The buffer squad. 2 people you trust to read things before you post and to triage incoming heat. They're your early warning system. Public hygiene checklist. Before you publish, run 60 seconds. Sensitive words? Ambiguous phrasing? Missing context? Fix the low-hanging fruit. Small transparency posts. A pinned sentence on content that might be misunderstood. Ownership lowers outrage. Tiny scripts that save you seconds. Copy/paste ready. I welcome constructive criticism. Please point to the specific line or time so I can address it. I won't engage with insults. If you want a thoughtful conversation, provide an example. Thank you. This was unclear. We've edited it and updated the description. I'm documenting this and will report further harassment to the platform. Daily and weekly rituals that actually move the needle. Weekly reputation audit. 15 minutes. Scan mentions. Save 2 constructive points. Fix 1 small thing. Small, regular fixes prevent big blowups. Monthly transparency note. If you've changed policy or content, say so. People reward honesty. Rehearsal drills. Once a month, practice delivering your holding line and correction. When you rehearse calm becomes your default. A short exercise. Write down 1 boundary you need to set today. Something small and actionable. I will only respond to feedback with examples, or I won't open DMs before noon. Post it as a private note. Then write the 20-word sentence you'll use if someone crosses that line. Keep that sentence handy. The Stoic root of all this. Value your character more than your image. Reputation is useful. It's how others perceive you. Integrity is essential. It's how you perceive yourself. Protect the latter, manage the former, and don't let the uproar steal your work or your peace. If this chapter landed for you, do something tiny but game-changing for the channel and for yourself. Hit like, subscribe, and drop 1 sentence in the comments. The boundary I need is __. I'll pick a handful and reply with a personal, ready-to-post script you can use the next time someone crosses that line. No judgment, just practical lines you can copy and paste when you need them. Ready to protect what matters and let the rest go? Let's finish strong. Chapter 10. Daily rituals for equanimity, living unshaken by others' voices. Picture this. You wake up, check your phone out of habit, and there it is, a comment that could bury your mood before your coffee. For a second you feel hollowed out, like someone removed a plank from under your feet. Now imagine the opposite. You wake up, breathe, scan the same comment, and file it away. Not like cold armor, but like a small sticky note in a huge project. That difference? It isn't luck. It's ritual. Chapter 10 is the final chapter because it's where everything you learned becomes daily muscle. The Stoics didn't rely on heroic willpower. They built tiny practices that stacked into unshakable calm. This chapter is the cheat code for making equanimity boring and reliable. The kind of steady calm that shows up whether you're trending or forgotten. Let me tell you about Matteo. He used to start every morning in the comments because he wanted to stay authentic. After one brutal week of trolls and one sleepless night, he realized authenticity without boundaries looked like chaos. So he built a morning and evening routine, 5 minutes each, that turned critique from a drama into an instrument. He didn't remove emotion. He trained the emotion to be useful. The difference in his week? He shipped more, responded less, and slept better. Here's your practical, zero-fluff daily architecture for living unshaken. Morning prep, 5 minutes. 1-sentence journal. Today I can control ___. I cannot control __. Naming the dichotomy of control before the day begins reduces reactivity. 1 micro goal. Pick a single, concrete thing you'll do to move your work forward. Action anchors you. 1 premeditation. Imagine one small criticism you might hear and rehearse a calm reply. Don't dramatize it. Rehearse the words. Midday check, 2 minutes. Phone breath. 2 full breaths before you open notifications. If a critique stings, wait 10 minutes before replying. Simple delays break reflexes. Quick triage. If the feedback is actionable and under your control, add a 1-line task to your list. If it's noise, archive mentally and move on. Evening reflection, 7 minutes. The Stoic night audit. What went well? What did I control? What did I overreact to? Write 1 sentence per question. Micro adjustment. Pick one small thing you'll change tomorrow based on honest data, not drama. Weekly cleanse, 20 to 30 minutes. Review your criticism folder. Spot patterns, not one-off noise. Ship one small improvement born from criticism, a 10 to 30-minute fix that proves you learn. Visible action reduces future heat. Monthly macro view, 30 to 45 minutes. Reputation portfolio check. What consistent story are you telling about yourself? Update the narrative if it's off. Buffer audit. Check your buffer squad, templates, and holding lines. Rehearse 1 public correction. Micro rituals that actually build resilience. The 3-word calm. When triggered, say 3 words. Pause. Breathe. Choose. That phrase is a mental anchor that cuts emotional speed. The 10-minute fix rule. Whenever feedback seems valid, force yourself to find a single 10-minute action. Small wins reduce shame. The exposure ladder. Once a week, publish 1 imperfect thing. Voluntary vulnerability desensitizes you to surprise criticism. Mental models to carry with you. The long view lens. Will this matter in a month? In a year? This shrinks catastrophic thinking. The signal/noise filter. Ask, is this information I can use? If not, it's noise. The identity separation. I am a person who learns versus I am what someone said today. A simple 7-day equanimity challenge. Doable, not dramatic. Day 1. Morning journal. Write control versus not control. Day 2. Pause ritual. 2 breaths before any reply. Day 3. 10-minute fix. Choose 1 critique and make a 10-minute change. Day 4. Publish something imperfect. Day 5. Buffer check. Update 1 template. Holding line/pin note. Day 6. Night audit. 3-sentence reflection. Day 7. Share 1 small lesson in the comments or with a friend. Little scripts that save you from big drama. Holding line. I see this and I'm looking into it. Clarifying line. Thanks. Can you point to the exact part you mean? Repair line. You were right. We fixed X and updated Y. Boundary line. I won't engage with insults. If you'd like a constructive conversation, please provide specifics. Why this works. Ritual removes improvisation. Feelings still come. They should, but they don't get to run the show. You convert emotional energy into structured action. Breathe, triage, tiny fix, reflect. Over time, that repeats into a temperament that looks calm because it's practiced. Here's a tiny exercise you can do right now. Write one sentence that separates your identity from your work. It should be short. I am a creator who improves, not a product of any single comment. Stick that sentence as your phone lock screen for 1 week. Every time you reach for your phone, you'll get a micro jolt of perspective. If this chapter landed for you, if you can already picture one ritual you'll try tomorrow, do one sweet, tiny favor. Hit like, subscribe, and drop a single word in the comments naming the ritual you'll test this week. Pause, journal, 10 in, whatever it is. I read these, and I'll pick a handful to turn into short reply scripts you can use in real moments. No essays, just one practical line you can paste the next time the heat comes. You came for tools. This is the toolbox. Use it daily. The goal isn't being unbothered all the time. It's being able to show up, learn, and keep building no matter what the world says. That's living unshaken that you've made it this far, and that already says something about you. You're not here to be broken by criticism. You're here to rise above it. Remember this. The world will always talk, but only you decide how much power their words have. If this video gave you strength, don't let it stop here. Like this video so more people can find it. Subscribe so you never forget these reminders when life gets heavy. And drop a comment below. Tell me what line or lesson hit you the hardest. When you share it, you make it real. And if someone in your life needs this, be the one who sends it their way. Because this is bigger than a video. This is a movement. A choice to live with virtue over chaos. Stay strong, stay calm, and I'll see you in the next one.